We're going to be going straight into the jungle and seeing how things are going to be panning over on this one. Reject Scarlet going to be going for Cal for themselves. And Box, you know, they like going a little bit out of their way to be alone, just like you do. And that's why both of these teams will be going for the Eastern Coastal line.
Welcome to the jungle. We've got fun and games. We got everything you want. But do you know the name? And I think if we do know the name is definitely Udu Gank leading into this fourth game. But a phase one circle max, it occupies mainland, North West Island, Southwest Island. It's actually, in my eyes, a very tricky phase one.
Very tricky. I think that's like the nicest circle almost.
Okay.
It's a very nice circle, you know what? Not too much more to involve. And one thing I'm going to, well, actually, no, we're going to fix around the fight right away. That's going to be Megastars versus Bigatron. As Ryzen taking already a little bit of damage for himself. Microboy going to be the first line of defense. Gets the initial knockdown onto Onkar. Won't be able to find the flash just yet as he crawls his way out of the door. But Microboy, at this point, being so low HP, he's going for the push. That's so aggressive. But yeah, it pays off. Imperium, he gets 2 knockdowns solo.
Oh my god, Ryzen just rising up in the early parts of this Sandhawk game to get 2 knockdowns. Vexy's knockdown Encore is confirmed, and now the AKM shots from Microboy. It doesn't really matter if he's low on health or not, he just doesn't really care. And now Luxy comes in with the UMP, whatever you call it, it's gotten the job done for BTR. Megastars find themselves down to just 1 player within 2 minutes of this game.
Called it UMP. I'm like a proud dad right now. Feels good. Imperium said UMP.
I'm learning, Dad. I'm learning, Dad.
It's good. Definitely, that was a really nice fight from Bigatron. Microboy, despite the fact that he also had no meds, he's like, he just had nothing to lose. He knew he had to go for the aggressive play. He went for the aggressive push, and he just got a nice double knockdown for himself. And then Luxy came over from the other side of the road. It was tricky, but because he got 2 knockdowns, Megastars had really no way to shut down the rotation coming out from Luxy, and then they got the initial knockdown after that.
So true. Now we see Painan, Kyle Harris's favorite place to drop. Makes it accessible, and for this kind of circle, Painan is a very accessible place to drop, but of course, with 2 teams fighting out in that area, it's not going to be accessible until you wipe out the opposing team. Synergy and RRQ getting close to each other. They're pretty much both on the same side of Painan. You do have 1 member of RRQ on the left side of Painan, which could provide an extra level of cover for RRQ and the rest of the teammates.
I was able to talk with one of the big boys at Synergy, and they were saying that they were feeling really confident going into today. Didn't really show off in the first 3 games, just a little bit like TSM Entity in a way. So hopefully they'll be able to get some good results in the next 2 games, and also in the next 2 days coming out tomorrow and also on Sunday. But Austin, Box, and Servi both locked in place. No way for them to move away because the high ground is held by G9, and you know he's not going to allow anyone to rotate away from this. And also, Synergy, have they looted up any smokes, any utility to move away from that location? Because they have taken a fight so early on, they might have not had enough time to loot.
Now, like I said, kind of this phase on circle is very tricky because it occupies the 3 areas of Sandhawk, right? So when you're looking at positioning, T1 and Bootcamp is kind of great because Bootcamp is central to phase 1, but you kind of don't really have that much information of what's going on around you. When you're looking at the triangular spot on the Southwest Island, that's probably the most accessible area, but no team is yet to go there. But now as you do see Painan, what was 2 squads is quickly becoming 3 as TSM Entity, who had a tough, rough 3 games so far in the Super Weekend, might try to kick things off in this 4th game and get a third-party action.
TSM Entity, they want a piece of that cake over here, and Painan, they're going for the push. 2 split across that river, which I do like is a really interesting approach, but RRQ Athena, they're going to have to start being careful about what's happening behind them, and I think they are definitely hearing it. D2E is going to be getting that information. Yeah. Neo is going to be the first man to get over there, and here it is. That's going to be Z-God of TSM Entity getting an initial knock onto D2E, and that's going to be now forcing RRQ to be very careful on all fronts of this fight. They've got to be careful up north, they've got to be careful down south. They are so far in a really scary position.
Now, if this kill is confirmed, that does put RRQ with 3 players up, as Neo going to look to cook the grenade. You do have Z-God in front of him, providing that level of cover. RRQ at least know roughly whereabouts the couple of members of TSM Entity are, but as they look to flank around Z-God, Maybe trying to find Beer inside the building. Play free fire coming through, but clutch got onto Beer and G9 back on over to Z-God. But Neo also gets dropped down by Ernie. It's going to be a double knockdown as Jonathan is going to be left standing for TSM.
TSM Entity had the advantage in that one, going for the third party, and a team that had already one member knocked away. G9 is going to go for the push right now. Jonathan is left alone. He's looking for potentially a few flushes, but G9's got to get back on over. Beer 11 going to get res back up by Ernie, and now they are back full force into this one. Our Synergy, they're like, that's a lot of shots, that's a lot of action. We're just going to go on the other side of the river and wait for the action to unfold.
Yeah, like here's the thing, you know, the Synergy are looking in the kill feed going, okay, you take that one. You take that one, you take that, take each other out. I don't care. We'll come in third party. And that's really great, accurate, clever play coming out from Synergy. Why join in on a fight when you technically don't need to?
Exactly. Like phase one, you know that if you can avoid it, that would be the better course of action. Bear gets the nice angle as the AK connects the kill. That's already 3 going over to RRQ Athena. And he's still remaining as a full squad. Like, that is mental. They were sandwiched up, already had one member knocked away, getting fully pushed by TSM Entity, and yet they are completely unharmed.
When you're looking at TSM and how they went in on that engagement, it was a great initial knock on the G9, but what lost it for me was that the fact that they kind of went in with very minimalistic information, so they got caught out and they got surprised.
Now Jonathan, he's just going to take his time, stay behind that wall, behind the bridge. And I think that they are definitely regretting their decision to go over here, so maybe it might not be happening on the other Sandhog games for them. But, well, Austin going for a little bit of a peak angle on the top of the roof there. Could be looking for a few nice shots, but will not be able to get anything done right now. So we're going to be focusing a little bit more on what's happening in the circle right now. A few teams, and especially one team in particular, that I like their rotation. That's Valdez. You talked about it, right? T1 in bootcamp, they got a nice central position. Yep. Valdez, they understood the value of that position, so they're going to try and potentially claim the higher northern position of bootcamp.
It's a really great position because should the circle shift on over to the west, they can at least maybe capture a couple of teams out rotating over there. And if it shifts on over to the east, it's going to be the same situation for them, and it gives them a lot more information compared to where T1 currently are located. Now, Team IND, they're sticking to the high ground on that northwest island, which they do land around, they do know and love, and Orange Rock are down below them in between BTR and Team IND.
Jonathan, his heart must be beating right now, but if you want to do an insane play, a 1v4 clutch would definitely do the trick. G9 Beer both in a similar position. They're currently looking down south because I know that Synergy potentially moved a little bit further away, as we have a little bit of a replay popping up on our screens. That was a push off TSM, so they had a really good initial knockdown, but then that backstab from Ernie, they have no idea whatsoever. And the fact that they pushed out of the building, that's already caused their downfall.
Like, I respect the team going in aggressively, but when you have minimalist information, there is that risk, and they pay the price. But now RQ will be aware of the fact that there is still one member of TSM around there. The pre-fire shots are coming through, but Jonathan drops Ernie to the floor, confirms the kill, but Beer climbing through. A glimmer of health, a glimmer of hope for Jonathan as he tries to dodge around the bullets. The shots come through, the jump shot is accurate. Beer knocks down, confirms, and wipes TSM Entity.
Too soon, TSM taken out in 16th. Definitely not the performances they've been looking for today. Well, you still got 2 more, so hopefully they'll be able to get a little bit of a better result into this. But now we are going to be continuing pushing on forward. Synergy, they now want to get involved. They saw the kill feed. They know that now one team was completely swiped off the board, and they want to try and get himself a little bit involved on RRQ Athena. But they took really not much of too much damage from that. They only lost 1 member. This is still going to be a pretty even fight at the end of the board.
I do think Synergy lost their opportunity to engage and get a third party, whereas I feel like they should have disengaged away completely.
Leave Painan.
And leave Painan, but now, because No Chance team are actually coming in from the hill up above, they can third party.
Calaris, this man always calls circle shifts coming out. You know what? He's coming slowly. He's looking at us like he's got a little smirk. He's pretty happy, but might be a mountaintop finish over here happening if it does shift once again up north over to the western side. And this man is evil. He's Illuminati.
They say not to meet your heroes, and I've always been a huge admirer of Calaris from the first time I met him last year when we were in Kiev. And he's such a nice guy. I was like, okay, this guy's cool. I was like, really looking forward to meeting him. But then within 5 minutes, I'm like, oh my God, he's a monster. either way,
simping period right there.
I was simping for a little bit, but then, you know, it was kind of anti-simping. But anyway, this game goes on. No Chance team will have to move up north because the circle shift did go up north, and this could be the prime time for them to actually go onto that triangle position on the southwest island.
One team that might be able to do that actually first would be Team IND. They're very close. They're slowly trying to put their eggs in different baskets. They've got, you know, already one player on the top of the mountain just in case it does go for that hard shift up north. But now teams are playing next to the river on the eastern side.
Yep.
If it does go over to the west, all the teams going to have to cross on over. The teams that already did that cross early on, they're going to be controlling the entire mid to late game stage. So the fact that already Orange Rock and also Team IND got those valuable positions under control can only spell good things for the late stage if we do have that hard shift.
Now, you were talking about Valdez's position. They've gone a little bit down south towards the edge of the coastal line. Another team that are in a strong position but will have to be very, very aware of where they are is Team Secret, because they have the high ground overlooking Boot Camp and even Painan. But because it is kind of high ground and it is a little bit out in the open, you're going to have King of Gamers, Box Gaming coming in from behind along with you, Dugank, who are on 3 chicken dinners in a row. So it's something they're going to have to be aware of. Sandhawk is always about protecting your area so effectively because it's a smaller map.
And one team that they did not want to protect their compound, that's actually Synergy. They moved away, just as you mentioned a little bit earlier, right? They didn't want to take the fight with RQ anymore. It was just not worth it at the end of the day. Yeah. And also seeing how the playing pass and everything was really unfolding, they know that potentially all of the western side of the circle is going to be a lot more open-ended, especially down south of Ruins. It's like, okay, we're just going to go out of circle. It's fine. It's still phase 2. Can try and find a nice entry point into the circle. But a few teams going for a rotation and crossing over. And that was actually Bigatron saying their scout first. There was Luxy. And Luxy and Zuxy actually going to be over there trying to get that under control. And they will now have a 2-2 split on the two sides of the river.
And talk about 2-2 splits. Orange Rock doing something similar, only they have 2 members up high above, right? They have Gillen scouting, then you have Vera and Mavi down below towards a compound on the coastal line. So Orange Rock, in my eyes, actually a BTR very heavily pinched right now.
I think that could be a little bit of an issue later on down the line. I mean, it really depends once again on Circle, right? Just a little bit of the RNG coming into this. The Circle could be a big deciding factor into this. But here we go. Going to look at all of the team stats over here. And like 95 total points for Udu Gang. We saw the top of the leaderboard, right? Jeez.
Like, you know the way I mentioned also about Udu winning their Sandhawk game in the opening weekend? Their total points in the opening weekend was 99 points. So they're 4 points away from their total opening weekend point countage. That's how dominating they've been in these first 3 games. And even like they have more kill points in these first 3 games than basically some teams have in total points. It's crazy. But either way, next circle is going to be showing up. Where is it going to go? It shifts down towards the southwest island, but still a little tip of each other area in play.
I know that cross river section right now that we were mentioning a little bit earlier in the game. Yeah. Like all of Team IND, they can easily do that rotation down. Also, Synergy, the fact that they went for that rotation thinking, okay, the west of the circle is currently open for the taking. They can easily get himself not in ruins. Please don't go in ruins. That is not a good idea.
But around the outskirts, exactly.
That would be a good position. So I think that here, a few teams did set themselves up for success in this late stage.
Team Secret have also done a great job of kind of rotating to the compound that is by the bridge of that triangle tip compound. That could prove to be very, very effective, as Valdez have actually gone into the just on the very coastal line of the mainland island, overlooking the northwest island and Boot Camp. As Orange Rock is shifting their way down south, that 2-2 split did somewhat pay off because now they can join up as a full squad, go down the hill, going down the mainland, but they do have BTR to the right of them and they have Team IND to the south of them.
Yeah, but Bigatron, if they do want to take a fight, they've got to wait for their 2 other members of Microboy and Ryzen to make it through. Currently, they're going to be swimming up. Going to try and find a decent position in this game. But yeah, Orange Rock, they went for the compound you were just mentioning, very high up north. It's a decent position. They did once again go very early of going on for that northern western island, and it will work out. But now it's actually basically a 50-50 split of north and south, and depending on where it could actually go. Like, you might have to cross for Orange Rock. If they do have to cross the river, that's a hard shift down south.
Also, one thing to point out, we're 40 minutes into the game, and we still have 15 teams and 53 players in this lobby. So the longer it goes, the more shrinks, the crazier this end game is going to be, as King of Gamers onto Galaxy Racer Cells and knockdown onto Ash is going to at least put pressure initially on the Galaxy Racer Cells. But Rox is on the edge line, providing a good bit of cover, but Braga with their grenades just trying to push the other members of Galaxy Racer Cells back.
I think that Rox might have to get a little bit more involved in this fight eventually down the line, but it could work out because you've seen also Bossan, also a few other players that kind of try and wrap around on the side, so that could give an opportunity over to Rox to actually take a nice knockdown or two. We'll have to see if the smokes will come out, making it even harder really for Rox to get any kind of involvement in this fight. As you do just in the background, just slowly going to avoid the entire fight. They hear the shots, it's just not worth it at this point in time on phase 3, as Ultron looking for an angle, but will not find it just yet.
Nice play by Sue. Just trying to liquefy the members of GXR Celts. Use no smokes along with the rock to provide that level of cover. The 2-2 split by King Gamers, 2 inside that one building, 2 outside is giving a lot of pressure. And this is where Galaxy Racer Celts are saying, hey, look, you win this battle, but you know what, we're going to disengage so we can hopefully win the war.
I think it's definitely worth it because they are also on the edge, right? And you want to go most centrally as possible into these kind of circles on Sandhawk, but now we're going to be having a little bit of an engagement potentially happening with a few of these squads around here. Box Gaming got Synergy, but the circle is really what's going to be the deciding factor on this one. The chance of it going over, harshly over to the east is very, very slim. We'll have to see 3, 2, 1. It goes actually up north directly, and that's going to be great for Orange Rock, for also Team IND. They went for that location so early on, really reading the circle, and this is stonks for them.
If I'm not mistaken, Mavi is now the only player left standing for Orange Rock. We didn't see on the broadcast exactly what happened as Box Gaming inside the blue zone gonna punish a couple of members of U-Do Gank. It's well, not necessarily third party, but it is the Sandhawk surprise attack play by Box Gaming. Good job by them as they hold on towards the edge of Ruins. Right now there is Synergy to the side of them along with RQ.
That's why you also don't see people use bikes and cars, right? They never know when there's going to be some enemies, and if there's one sneaking around, well, your entire team will die eventually. Now, Box, they have to move away from their location. They got to go harshly up north. You got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams down south. A lot of action's going to be unfolding, and they all got to cross on the other side of the river, Imperium. 1, 2, 3, 4. I declare a PUBG Mobile war in Sandhawk, as Godless going to return the clapback as 2 members of their team was knocked down. D2E is going to at least get knocked. Heineken going to try and go for the revive on the off-dells. And don't forget, like you mentioned, all these teams around down on the south side are outside the circle. So the rotations are going to come through. You're going to see third partying, fourth partying, as 43 players are left on the lobby. RQ Athena right behind No Chance team, and No Chance, they got the higher ground, but RQ, they're not interested on No Chance, they're interested on the Synergy. Nice spray coming up from B11, but he's still going to be taking a little bit of that tick damage. When it goes to phase 5, that's when you want to try and get yourself in circle as swiftly and quickly as possible. Because right now they're going for the long game, but behind them, how did you not see Bear right there? But there you go, you do gang the team that took 3 chicken dinners in a row. That'll be not a 4th, unfortunately.
You know what? Nobody's perfect. They couldn't complete the World Tour, but that doesn't take away from what they've done in the first 3 games. But now that they're off the lobby, in theory, based on the first 3 games, there's a lot more kill points available. There's a lot more placement points for these remaining 14 teams as GXR Celts hugging the edge of the bridge, trying to potentially punish the members of RQ as Synergy, and that's exactly what they've done.
The fact that Celts left the fight earlier is going to allow them to get somewhat of a decent position right now. They've still got 2 more players remaining in this one, and the blue zone is now going to go in phase 5 in just a few matter of a second. But Marvi still doing some work in the kill feed despite being a one-man army for Orange Rock, but unfortunately it's going to be played a little bit too short. Orange Rock will go out in 12th.
And then we see off Dells on the off angle. Taken down, Ultron gonna leave MJ last player standing. He's gonna be on the side of the bridge. This next phase shifted up towards the northeast. You've got 50% of water in play. Valdez on the coastal line, but they're gonna get punished. The blue zone is the best friend of the remaining teams that are inside the circle because people are going down just like that.
These teams are thirsty for position in this game, but unfortunately, with so much water still involved, it's going to be hard to get yourself a decent position. So far, Valdez, they are really on the very center of that position, on the edge of the coastal line. They can control, but they could also get attacked from team down south that would be Team Secret right now.
And the only compound inside this circle is occupied by Team IND, but will they be able to protect it? As Austin Bodex of Synergy looking for the members of Box Gaming. It is inside the blue zone, but Loki turns around and shoots shoots him in the head and takes him down. Down goes Synergy. 8 teams left standing, 23 players left as the side of Reject Scarlet have rotated very effectively from the north. Now they're coming in down the hill.
Reject Scarlet, they got one of the hardest positions potentially in this game. They've got to go downhill in the open and friendly arms. Maybe not all that friendly, but the friendly arms anyways of Team IND. But here it is, the smoke roads will be definitely helping out Reject Scarlet to make their way down to the compound. But after they make their way down, they've got to take a huge fight versus Team IND, and they are ready to take this engagement. Web going to be put extremely low as we pan on over to also Box making their way through. The water break will be a casualty, but Box also hard rotation for themselves.
Making their way downtown, walking past. Bullets inbound as Team Secret just trying to hold on. They're going to go inside the water. Valdez continuing on as the 3-man team. Box Gaming are going to be chunked by the blue zone one by one as the Helos just trying to come on through as the Reject Scarlet on the edge of the compound. They made their way down the hill. Team IND were staving off the pressure of BTR. Now they got to focus on Reject. They get 1 kill confirmed, but with Duello proning down along with Urala, going to go on the side of the building. Kratos, Trance, and Slayer are still inside.
Kratos was so low right there, but was able to just slowly and sneakily make his way out of that engagement. Mollies and Utility will be coming out in response of Team IND, but they've got to go for the push. If they go outside, they've got to be careful. Entrance is going to be on the other side of that building, and things could get a little bit more sweaty for this team. But Reject Scarlet, they know they're not going to get too overconfident. If I were there, I would not actually take the fight and wait for Team IND to cross over to go for the backstab.
And both these teams are outside the circle because the next fate did shift down the southeast as they're going to make their way down. Trant with the shot takes out Reject Scarlet, and that's going to be job done. They're on 5 kills. They're in the top 6. Team IND, they were saying to me that Trance was their secret player for Sandhawk, and now they're going to continue on. We see BTR and Valdez on the side of the cliffside of this rock. Shots going through. Zuxi gets knocked.
They get things done. Bigatron struggling a little bit as T1 get eliminated. 5 teams still remaining in this lobby. Imperium on Sanok, but Ryzen peeks his head, and there you go. Gets absolutely obliterated, and Bigatron will go out in that 5th position. Now 3 teams actually, who are now in 4th. I'm not even too sure. It's going to be actually King of Gamers Club, as now we have 3 teams. Team Secret, Team ID, and also Valdez the Murder.
Velmoth was like a moth to flames there against BTR, wiping them out. It is going to be 3v3v3 on the coastal line of this northwest island. It shifted back over to the west. INDR closest to the edge of the circle, but they're not inside the circle. And Valdez, they are inside the circle.
The main idea behind these kind of positions, right, is a Mexican standoff. For the intention that you want 2 teams to take a fight, and when that fight ends, or when it's already really well committed to, you want to go for the third party and try and attack these teams when they're already heavily hurt.
And even though it looks like Team IND are out in the open, there's a tiny little bit of downhill dip that they are using to their advantage. But of course, if you go a pixel out of place and you get spotted, you're gonna get punished. So you have to be very, very careful, and that's exactly what has happened to Slayer. He gets dropped to the floor, he gets confirmed. Kratos looks up, he's gonna get a knockdown, but that's gonna be the end of Team IND. They got the first push, and now comes down to these 2 teams.
Team IND, they had the low ground. It will not work out for them on this Sandhawk game, but now Team Secret had 1 member knocked away. That's gonna be Yuhai, turn into now a 3v2. And Valdez, they want this chicken dinner as a great grenade comes out. It's going to roll towards Armcho, puts him extremely low, but will not result in a knockdown as of yet, as that smoke will allow Yuhai to potentially get res back up himself. As Martin, I can see what you're doing, man. He's known as the flanker of the lobby, as he's going to try and swiftly make his way up north behind the team of Team Secret.
But these are 2 teams that have an ongoing rivalry, right? Matt Toy, a former Valdez the Murder, or what was Illuminate the Murder team member. If they can claim this chicken dinner, if Team Secret can kick off their super weekend run with a victory over Valdez the Murder in this Sandhawk game.
Yubu. Great angle right there, can peek it up, but Armjo, and he has the advantage of being able to peek left and right, whereas BB is going to be very straightforward. You can only peek up. And that could make things very easy for Armjo to get that knock for himself, but it still turned into now a 3v3. The res was able to come back indeed, but Team Secret, they're slowly pushing out the blue zone right behind them. And Armjo, if he seems that once again, that 1 pixel out of place, they can get a few nice bit of damage down.
Oh, but look at BB using and hugging this side of the cliffside. Gets a knockdown